Thank you for choosing to find out a bit more about the Oxford Flood Alleviation Scheme. This presentation is designed to introduce our scheme and explain the important role this key piece of infrastructure will play in keeping Oxford open for business. The Oxford Flood Alleviation Scheme is a partnership of 10 organisations working to reduce flood risk to Oxford. We are dedicated to creating an exemplar flood alleviation scheme that will benefit everyone that lives, works in and visits Oxford. Our scheme is one of the biggest flood schemes in England, costing £150 million. The benefits of our scheme are similarly impressive. For every £1 spent on the scheme, it will realise £10 in benefits in reducing flood risk and avoiding the cost of property damage, emergency response and recovery. Our scheme is funded. Over £88 million is committed by government and £66.5 million from partners and third parties. All properties in Oxford currently at flood risk from the River Thames will see their flood risk reduced when the scheme is in place. The Oxford Flood Alleviation Scheme will benefit everyone in Oxford. There are 3 main benefits provided by the Oxford Flood Alleviation Scheme. The scheme is a long-term solution to manage flood risk in Oxford, taking climate change projections into account. It will safeguard Oxford's transport links and vital infrastructure. It will give improved peace of mind from the worry of floods and aims to bring enjoyment and recreation to the area for generations. So why does Oxford need a flood alleviation scheme, and why are floods a problem? Oxford is a low-lying city where 7 rivers and streams come together. This makes Oxford particularly vulnerable to flooding. The largest flood Oxford experienced in living memory happened in 1947, when catastrophic floods engulfed Oxford, affecting over 3,000 properties. An aerial photograph a few days after the peak shows the west of Oxford appearing like a giant lake. This 1947 flood gives a sense of what a major flood looks like. All the floods in recent decades have been much smaller than this. Flooding is the most common and widespread natural disaster in the UK. Since 1998, there has been at least one serious flood every year. Flooding can have harmful effects on Oxford and the surrounding area, as this diagram and the following photographs show. There is a human cost of floods. They not only destroy homes, but also impact people's mental and physical health. In both 2007 and 2013-14, businesses on Botley and Abingdon roads and Oseley Mead Industrial Estate were flooded. Flooding also impacts the electricity, water and telecommunications systems vital for keeping businesses operating. The Botley and Abingdon roads are 2 of the main routes in and out of the city. Flooding on these roads brings widespread travel disruption, impacting deliveries, bus routes, private cars and park and rides. Traffic is diverted onto other, already congested routes. In 2007, these roads and the railway were flooded and closed for 5 days. In the 2013 and 14 floods, roads and the railway were closed or disrupted for 11 days. The indirect impacts on employment, retail and leisure caused by the disruption during the 2013-14 flooding has been calculated to be £45 million. These recent floods have not been anywhere near the size and impact that we expect to see in coming decades due to climate change. The Oxford Flood Alleviation Scheme is designed to cope with severe floods of a size last seen in Oxford in 1947. Since Oxford is more built up, a flood on this scale would be catastrophic for Oxford today and would have a devastating impact on businesses and commerce in the city. In this time of COVID-19, the last thing Oxford needs is a significant flood without the benefit of this key piece of infrastructure. Our scheme will create more capacity within the existing undeveloped floodplain and allow more flood water to move through it. This reduces the flood risk in developed areas of Oxford without increasing the risk to other communities. Areas that will benefit from reduced flood risk are shown by the white rings on this map. These include the Botley Road and Abingdon Road areas, the railway line, the Oseley area and South Hinksey. But where is the scheme and what will it look like? Approximately 5 kilometres long, the scheme will run through the fields to the west of the city. It starts just north of Botley Road and carries on to south of the A423 near Kennington, where it joins the River Thames. Most of this area is farmland and flood meadow. The scheme will lower the existing floodplain. A new stream is highlighted in blue. A gently sloping floodplain of new wetland habitat, grazed meadow and wildflowers is shown in yellow. This will create more space for floodwater away from built-up areas while fitting with the existing landscape. In some areas, new structures are needed to complement the new stream. Earth embankments and flood walls, shown in red, will be built in some places where houses would otherwise still flood. New and replacement bridges will be built where footpaths and bridleways need to cross the new stream. Culverts will be built in the south of the scheme to allow water to pass under bridges and the railway line. How precisely do businesses benefit from the scheme? Oxford has the second fastest growing economy of all UK cities. It is home to over 5,000 businesses and provides 133,000 jobs. Once the scheme is in place, Oxford businesses and homes will see their flood risk from the River Thames significantly reduced. With the scheme in place, over £1.5 billion of flood damage will be avoided over its lifespan of 100 years. Staff and customers will benefit from improved peace of mind due to reduced flood risk. Keeping the railway line, roads and other infrastructure open is vital to the economy of Oxford. Oxford is a city that thrives on its connection to Oxfordshire and an international workforce. It needs a resilient transport infrastructure. Annually, around 7 million people visit Oxford, contributing around £600 million to the local economy each year. The scheme will keep key transport routes open during flooding, allowing staff, deliveries and customers to reach businesses. There will be fewer flood-related disruptions to important utilities such as electricity, water, telephone and internet. The scheme will safeguard Oxford's reputation as a thriving centre of commerce that is open for business. The scheme will create a new stream next to a gently sloping floodplain of wetland habitat, grazing meadow and wildflowers. It will create new species-rich floodplain meadow, native deciduous woodland and hedgerows which will further increase biodiversity. The area will be managed for wildlife. Some areas will be sown with wildflowers to encourage butterflies and other insects, birds and foraging bats. The scheme will enhance green transport routes, encouraging walking and cycling. Upgraded footpaths and bridges will bring opportunities for staff and customers to improve their health and well-being. The scheme will leave local communities with a cherished asset benefiting people and wildlife for generations to come. We hope you found this presentation insightful and appreciate the multiple benefits the scheme will deliver Oxfordshire. Please contact us if you have any questions or would like to find out more. We would also like to hear from you if you would be willing to share your flood stories or how the scheme will benefit you or your business directly. In the meantime, we encourage you to check your flood risk and resilience.